Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to have you around today on Smart Lesson Nigeria online virtual lesson with your regular host, Mr. Otaibe. Thank you for joining in the lesson session. The subject is mathematics and the topic is Roman numerals 2, arithmetics of Roman numerals, addition and subtraction. Remember, we've had Roman numerals 1 as the first symposium, and that's focused on writing in Roman numerals with respect to changing between Roman figures and Arabic figures. In this second symposium, talking of Roman numerals 2, we are looking at arithmetics of Roman numerals, concentrating on addition and subtraction. Then in the next symposium to come up, we'll have Roman numerals 2 again, arithmetics of Roman numerals, but this time concentrating on multiplication and division. And so that's how the symposiums will be stretched for Roman numerals. And so we're actually on the first part of the second symposium talking of arithmetics of Roman numerals, addition and subtraction. And so let's kick off right away as we engage the introduction of the lesson that will expose us to the operations that are done under arithmetics of Roman numerals. And so let's see what we have on the introductory slides. Like you can see, arithmetics of Roman numerals involves addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division operations in Roman figures. Yes, that's what it encompasses. And in this particular lesson, we are taking the first two, talking of addition and subtraction of Roman figures. And the next lesson instrument to come up will now be multiplication and division, still under arithmetics of Roman numerals. And so when we say arithmetics of Roman numerals, we are talking of addition of Roman figures, subtraction of Roman figures, multiplication of Roman figures, and of course division of Roman figures. And so that's that for that. Now we want to make progress now to addition and subtraction of Roman numerals, which of course is the focus of this lesson symposium. Then the subsequent lesson symposium will now be multiplication and division of Roman numerals. And so let's see how we do addition and subtraction of Roman numerals. So like you can see, to add or subtract Roman figures, the first step is convert each of the Roman figures to their Arabic equivalent numbers. Yes, you change each of the Roman figures in the expression to their Arabic equivalents. That's the regular numbers we work with. Talking of 1, 2, 3, 4, and whatever. Then when you are done, add or subtract the Arabic equivalent numbers as instructed in the arithmetic command. So you now use the Arabic equivalent to do the subtraction or the addition the way it's being instructed. And when you are done, the result you get in Arabic value will now be subjected to this third step. Convert the Arabic number resulting from the addition or subtraction back to Roman figures. And so these are the three steps we employ when adding or subtracting Roman figures. So in summary, the first step is to change each of the Roman numerals to the Arabic equivalents, to ordinary numbers, the one we work with, the common numbers we know. Then with that common numbers, do your subtraction according to normal subtraction or addition depending on the command in the question request. And when you now do that to get your answer still an Arabic value, then you now return the Arabic answer back to Roman figures by converting the way we've learnt of the conversion in the first lesson symposium. And so that's it, all the steps, and we want to take note of them. And so let's begin to exercise the theory now, as it were. We want to impress the points practically as we engage some couple of board demonstrations that will come up from this section of the lesson. And so under the board demonstration now, we have the first question: add SL, CX, and MC. Add SL, CS, and MC. And so I'll write SL, okay, plus CX, okay, XL plus CX, okay, then plus MC. Okay, so that's what we are told to add. Now, before I'll add, I'll have to convert each of them to the Arabic equivalent. Now, SL, remember, we're having a smaller Roman letter behind a bigger Roman letter. And so because of that, it is going to be subtraction. So L is 50, then the X behind is 10. And so what you have there is actually 50 minus 10, which is 40. And so then I'll convert this as well. CS, I'm having a smaller value after a bigger value, so that will be addition. C is 100 and S is 10, so 100 plus 10 is 110. Then I'll now go to the next one, MC. Remember, M is 1000 and C is 100, so we're having a smaller value after a bigger value, and that's addition. So it will be 1000 plus 100, which is 1100. So that's 1100. And so I'll now go ahead to add 1100 to 110 and 40. And so it will be 1100, then the second one 110, then the last one 40. So we'll add everything together. And so 0, 0, 0 on the first column will be 0. 0, 1, 4 will be 0 plus 1 plus 4, and that's 5. Then the next column, 1 plus 1 is 2. Then the next column is only 1. So I have 1250. 1250. And so my 1250, I'll now spread it. 1250. 1250. Okay, 1250. So I'll run the 1000. The 1000 is M. Okay, then the 2 is 200. That's 250. So I'll work out the 200. The 200 is 60. Then I'm left with 50. 50 will be worked together as a single value, L. And so the final answer is, okay, so we have the 50 as in the 250 as L. And so the final answer, if you merge, will now be MCCL. So that's the final answer. MCCL 1250. And so that's the answer to this question. And so we want to take note of it so that we become acquainted with it. And so we now make progress to the next board demonstration. Talking of question number 2. Question number 2 comes up like this. In Roman numerals, subtract SLVII from CCSV. And so let's work it out. Subtract SLVII from CCSV. Now, when subtraction comes as word problem, they tell you subtract this from this. The number that appears after the word from will be the one to come first in the subtraction command, while the other number will come next. And so when they say subtract y from x, because x is after from, x will appear first in the subtraction protocol, in the subtraction command. And so applying it here, I have subtract SLVII from CCSV. So CCSV, which is the number after from, is the one to appear first in the subtraction. And so I'll now write the command as C. Okay, so it's going to be CCSV. It will appear first because it's the one appearing after from, minus SLVII. So that's it. That's how we present it. And so now we'll now work them out in Arabic values first. We'll convert them to Arabic values first and see what we are going to get. And so that's we have C, and C is after it. That means they are and x is after the 2. So it means the CC, they are on their own, they are independent. So I'm talking of 100, then followed by another 100, no subtraction, 100. Then I'm having SV, S is 10 and V is 5. So because of that, the S will be on its own as 10 and the V will be on its own as 5. And when you add everything together, is actually 100 plus 100, 200. 200 plus 10, 210. 210 plus 5. So the entire value is actually 215. Then I'll go to the other one. I'm having X before L and L is bigger. That means the X is not on its own. Instead, it's a debit to the L. So we are going to subtract. So it will be L minus X, which is 50 minus 10. And that will be 40 there. Then I now go to the next one. I'm having V and the V is followed by II. So that means the V is on its own, which is 5. Then the II, each of them is independent. And so that will be 1. Then the other one is 1. And so we'll now add everything together. So it will now be 40 plus 5, 45, plus 1, 46, plus 1, 47. So everything we'll have here is 47. And so we'll now go ahead to do 215 minus 47. And so when we arrange it, it will now be 215 minus 47. And so it will now be 7 away from 5 cannot. We'll borrow 1 from the next figure and carry it as 10. Since we are working with decimal numbers, that's base 10. So it will now be 15. 7 away from 15. 7 away from 15 is 8. Okay, so we have 8. Okay. Now, the one from which we borrowed is now 0. And so 4 away from 0 cannot. Okay. So remember, it's 0 we now have here. 4 away from 0 cannot. Then we'll now borrow from the 2. We'll borrow 1, call it 10. 10 plus 0 is 10. So it's actually 10 we have here now. So 4 away from 10 is 6. Okay, so we have 6. Then the 2 is now 1 since we borrowed 1 out of it, and nothing is being subtracted from it in that column, so it will just remain as 1. And so the answer is 168. 168. And so we now make progress to now convert 168 to Roman numerals. We'll run the 100 first. The 100 will come out as C. Then the 60 will come out as 60 is 50 and 10. And so it will be S. Okay, sorry. It's not X. It's going to be LS. That's 50 and 10. That's 60. Then the 8 is 5 and 3. So it will be VII. So that will be VIII. That's it. And so merging everything together now, the final answer will come out as CLS. Okay. CLS. Okay. Then CLS VIII. So that's the answer when you subtract SLVII from CCSV. And so we want to take note of that. And so that's it for question number 2. We now make progress now to the next question, talking of question number 3. Question number 3 comes up like this. Subtract SLII from XCIV. Subtract SLII from XCIV. And so it's going to be the same approach as the last question we just solved. And so remember, we said the number that appears after from will come first in the command. And so what we have now is SCIV coming first minus XLII. And so that's it. So we now convert each. Now I'm having X and it's appearing before C, which is bigger. That means the S is not on its own. Instead, it's going to be merged with the C as debit to it. And so it will be 100 minus 10, which is 90. The two of them will make 90. Then the next, I'm having I before V. and the I is a smaller numeral compared to V. And so the I is not dependent, sorry, it's not independent. Instead, it is dependent on the V as a debit to the V. And so that's subtraction again. So the V is 5 and the I is 1. So 5 minus 1 is going to be 4. And so all of the SCIV is actually 90 plus 4 giving 94. So that's 94. So we go to the other one, and we are having x before L, so it's dependent, it's not on its own, so it's going to be a debit to the L, and so that again is going to be 50, that's for the L now, minus 10, and that's 40. Then the next two numerals are II. None of them is bigger than the other, so each of them is on its own. So the first I is 1, the second I is 1. So at the end of the day, we have 40 plus 1, which is 41, plus 1 again, and that will be 42. And so in the Arabic code, XCIV minus SLII is actually 94 minus 42. So we're having it as 94 minus 42. And so we now arrange it in the normal subtraction protocol. So it will be 94 minus 42. 2 away from 4 is 2. That's for the first column. Then the second column, 4 away from 9 is 5. And so the answer is 52. And so the 52 now, we'll now return it to the Roman numerals. We are starting with 50. 50 is L. Then 2 is II. And so the final answer, merging everything, is LII. So it's going to be LII. So that's the final answer, LII. So XCIV minus SLII is actually LII, that's 52. And so I want to take note of all of this so that we become acquainted with them and we'll be able to utilize them when similar challenges are captured in our assessment coming up or later, coming up sooner or later in our next external examinations. And so that's that for that. Now let's progress to the next one, which is question number 4. Question number 4 says, evaluate XCI plus SLVII plus SV. So the command is directly presented, and so we don't need to interpret. And so right away we going to write it as SCI plus SLVII, then plus XV. So we have the last one as SV. And so let's change them to the Arabic equivalents. Now I'm having S before C, so that's going to be a debit, and it's going to be 100 minus 10, and that will be 90 there. Then the I is on its own as 1, so the I is 1, and so the whole of that side now I'm having 90 plus 1, 91. Then I'll now go to the middle. The middle now I'm having X before L, and because L is bigger, the X is not on its own. Instead, it's a debit to the L. So that will now be subtraction, meaning 50 minus 10. 50 minus 10 is 40. Then the next one, I have VII. So for the fact that I'm having V bigger, II the same, and they both are smaller than V, so it means everything is on its own. So the V is 5, the first I is 1, the second I is 1. So merging everything to be 40 plus 5, 45, plus 1, 46, plus 1, 47. Then we'll now go to the last one, SV. S is bigger than V, so each of them is on its own. And so X is 10, then V is 5. So I'll now have 10 plus 5 making 15. And so at the end of the day, the subtraction is actually, the protocol is actually 91 minus 47 minus 15. 91, sorry, please, plus. We are working with addition. So it will be 91 plus 47 plus 15. And so we arrange them and add up straight. So I have 47 here, I have 15 here. And so when we add, on the first column, I'll have 5 plus 7, that's 12. Okay, then 12 plus 1, that's 13. So I will put down 3 because we are working with decimal numbers. You cannot write 10. So instead, we'll slash and then transfer the remainder. So it is going to be, we'll put down 3, then we'll now transfer the 1. The 1. And so we now go to the next. That one we carried, remember, is here. Okay, so I'll add it close to the 9. So it will now be 1 plus 9, 10. That one is the one we carried from the 13. 1 plus 9, 10 plus 4, that's 14, plus 1, that's 15. So I will put down 5, then transfer the 1. So nothing to add it to, so it will not stay. So it's 153. 153. And so the 153 now will now return it to Roman numerals. So 100 is C, 50 is L, then 3 is I. And so merging everything together, it will now be CLII. CLII. And so that's that for this particular question as board demonstration number 4. And so I want to take note of it so that we can always engage it when similar challenges are presented in our future assessment platforms. And so that's that for that. Now let's make progress to the next board demonstration, talking of question number 5. Question number 5 says, okay, so we're having question number 5. It says, evaluate C minus LXXX VII. Okay, so it's the same thing. We're going to position the command, interpret it as Arabic, do our subtraction, return our answer to the Roman numerals, to the Roman equivalent. And so what we have now is C minus LXXX, then VII. Okay, so that's what we have. And so the C as a single Roman numeral is just 100. So straight away, that one is 100. Then we now come to this. We have L. Okay, so L is on its own. L is on its own. And so the L, because we are having a smaller numeral after it, so it's on its own. Is independent, and so it will come out as 50. Then we have XXX, and both are the same. None is bigger than the other, so they are on their own, so we interpret them separately. And so X10, okay, the next X10, then the next X10, then V followed by II, meaning the V is on its own. We are not subtracting. And so the V5, then the II that are equal now, none is greater than the other. They will be on their own. And it will be 1 and 1. And so merging everything together, it will be 50 plus 10, 60, plus 10 again, 70, plus 10, 80, plus 5, 85, plus 1, 86, plus 1, 87. And so everything is 87. And so we'll have it as 87 on the other side. That's what we have after the minus, so it's 87. And so in the Arabic translation, the command we have is actually 100 minus 87. And when we arrange it, it will be 100 minus 87. And so you now do your subtraction. 7 away from 0 cannot. And so we'll now need to borrow from the next number. Unfortunately, 0 we have there. And so we'll now borrow from the next, which is the third number. And when you are borrowing, the fact that you did not succeed in the number you were supposed to borrow from does not mean you just carry what you borrowed to skip it. Instead, no matter where you are borrowing from, you must give the next number first. then from the next to the next, from the next to the next, from the next to the next. So that's how we do it. And so I'll borrow 1 from the 1 that is the last number in hundreds. I'll now give it to the number after it. I'm not transferring it straight to the last 0 where I'm to perform my first subtraction operation. No. Instead, I'll give the 10 I borrow to the first 0 after the 1 from which I borrowed the 1. Remember, I'm borrowing 1 and carrying it as 10. So I'll take the 1 and give to this. That will now be 10. From the 10, I'll borrow 1 and give to the next. That means this guy will now drop to 9 and this will now be 10. So that's how we do it, okay? So that's that. So it will now be 7 away from 10, that's 3. Then 8 away from 9 is 1. Remember, there is nothing remaining again here. This one was borrowed out, so it's 0. So we don't have anything. We're even removing from the empty. That's 0. And so that column is gone. And so at the end of the day, we have only 13. And so our answer is 13. And so the 13 now will now be translated into the Roman equivalent. And that will be 10. The first number is 10 as a value. And so the 10 now will come out as x. While the second number is 3, and 3 is I. So it will be I. So merging everything together, I have x I. So that's the answer to this particular question. And so that's that for that. We want to take note of all of this so that we become acquainted with them and can always apply them when similar questions are featured in our assessment examination. That's the size of the lesson. Thank you so much for being present. On the evaluation stage, you are recommended to log on to the CBT assessment that's been published to drill you on the lesson. Log on to the CBT, answer the questions, which are past questions that have been drawn from different exam authorities, so that you answer them, and in the process, the points are made to sink down in you, and they will not become permanent in you, waiting to be used in your future external examinations. I'll see you again in the next lesson series. Let's make time together again to learn something new on a different subject platform.